Today, what I want to do is get into the Dhrupad. The Dhrupad is the entry song of a classical night. Sometimes before a classical night, you will see that a singer will just play a little, like that's what I heard, my uncle Mohan Samlal do, and it just gave you a chance to, kind of. It'll be a nice little fun kind of sound to just get everyone in the mood, get the instruments tuned up, just to see that all the instruments are together. That's really part one, but it's also not part one. The real beginning of a classical night where everyone gets serious is for the Dhrupad. The Dhrupad is an invocation. It is often a religious song. Sometimes it's based on ancient poetry from Mian Tansen, those individuals. Sometimes it's more locally written, recently written, but it will usually be an invocation, a pranam, Guruvani, to the deities that reside over. There's actually a really great description in, I think his name is Peter Manuel, his video about classical. So I'll try to link that. But anyways, so the Dhrupad can have different melodies to them. Some of them are dark. So, and then some could be very bright. Right? And that goes back to the more complex art form of singing, that there's proper times and rags and seasons and all these things for all that. But the point being with drumming is that it comes from a certain tradition. What is called Dhrupad in India is not the same as what's called Dhrupad in Trinidad. They probably have certain common roots, and I'm sure there's others who can speak more on that. But what the Trinidadian Dhrupad is, why I'm speaking on this is because there are certain people who will try to compare the two and say, well, it should be like an Indian Dhrupad. No. Trinidad classical has come to a point where it is its own thing. It's its very own thing. It has roots from somewhere else, yes, from our ancestry, but we do it a certain way. And the Dhurpat that you will know out of Trinidad and Guyana actually are a certain structure that is almost predictable. So, as we already discussed the notes, it'll sound generally like this. So let's break that down. If you can kind of feel the rhythm of this beat, with the dantal, we'll be playing like this. So what do you identify as the most kind of fundamental pattern in that is that you're going to be hearing through the whole thing of the Theka. Actually, let's get into that. The Theka is the beginning part of the song before you break into a bharti. So when you break the tal being the whole rhythmic structure, it's broken into two. You have the second half, but for the first half, the Theka, you have the. Now let's add the second part to that. So So ta, 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 ra, ta, 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 ta. Think about that as, I don't want to get too complicated, but part A, B, C. So let's look at it this way. Part A, ta, part B, It's almost like and then you have part C. So that part C, back to A. So on a drum, that's going to sound like this. Now, I was trying to figure out where drum theory will get into this, but it's kind of like, imagine you have, because this is going to be repeated through all the different tals. Imagine you have a closed part with closed notes on this side. So when we started that, now you have, that is like what you can consider a chorus. Now when you go into a verse, you're going to get, you see, so instead of the, we said, this whole thing is like a call and response, what the Dhurpat is. So just thinking about how we can really break this down, because I think everyone has a different learning style. So if this is not computing for certain people, just let me know and I'll try and explain it a different way. But that is, so that's going to be, so let's go through part A, B, and C, and then I'm going to go to the, I'm going to say what part is closed, and then we're going to show the open. So part A, and then part B, So let's just do part A and B over again. So I'll use the tablet notes. Na te te na, tat ta ta te te na. So let's call this na a ta for now. This is making sense as I'm going along. Ta te te ta, kat ta ta te te ta. So that's part A. Ta te te ta. Part B. Kat ta ta te te ta. Part C. Kata kata ge ge da kata ge ge da. So part C would be kata kata ge ge da. Maybe that's not cut. Maybe it's ge. Keta keta. I'm probably confusing everyone up here, but just listen. Just listen, and you'll figure it out. Because I'm really trying to take tabla bowls and put them on dolak, and then I'm saying dolak is not Trinidad. Dolak is not Trinidad. Is not tabla. So I'm not trying to, not make a mess by taking from here, here, here. So hopefully you can just hear, watch, and try. So part A is part A, B, C. Now we're going to go from that closed part in the beginning to the open part. So after that, then we're going to go to. Can you see how that's almost a response to the first half? So from the first half to the second half. So. Pratam Manokar Devama. Now then, a Drupad has a little piece in the beginning that, how do I explain? It's like a little verse, but there's no words in it. That is just, so maybe it does. Let's go through the song and show. Let's try Ayodhya. Ayodhya Sita Inalo. So you have it. So part A. Part B. Part C. And now this is the part I was talking about where a Drupad will go off into a little side piece. So why I'm bringing in this little side piece is because this is where the rhythm keeps going. So Pratam Manokar. Now we're gonna go to. Now we get into the first verse. We should stick to one. So there's those, that's part of the verse that it just kind of repeats the same thing. Now you're going to get to something probably higher. Now we're going to go and finish that off. So that's where we're breaking it into the Bharti now. So that part is almost like, it's a different rhythm now. If you're familiar with what Tintal is, a Drupad really takes the structure of a Tintal. La 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 la. Actually, they still use a Tintal for a guy in a Drupad, so this is where the Trinidadian one comes from, but it's just different. It's changed into what it is. So now we're gonna break into the Bharti. I know that I'm not really doing the greatest job explaining this, but I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. The Bharti now is, as far as the singer is concerned, they're singing the same thing, just at a faster rate. It's like double the speed. But what you're gonna do is, so if it was a Guyanese Drupad, why I'm bringing this up is because you'll see what I mean with structure. It would be a rela. So what this Bharti really is a rela. But for Trinidadian now, as it's evolved, So what is the basic structure of that? So and what some people, so let's see. And you might hear all kind of different variations of that, like, so excuse me. That's one way, but some people will be a lot of chop and open-handed. And then you'll start getting people doubling, like into a kind of now there's a part where I was explaining to you, after we get from the A, B, C, there's a higher part to the Dhurpat. So for example, when we were doing that in the beginning, that's where I was explaining we move from the closed part to the open part. I know that's going to be confusing, but like when we mirror that now in the Bharti, or what's really a Rela, what we're going to get is, so how we're opening this up in the Bharti side is, you see you're playing those open-handed. So whereas you were just kind of modulating the pitch before, when we're getting to that higher part, la 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 la, you so let me try and play a Drupad from start to finish, just to give you the different movements that we can identify through the whole thing. So okay, so one thing about it though, obviously as you hear more experienced drummers, they're all going to start to put their own pieces in it. So in the beginning you might hear something. The whole point with this classical is the bass hand is always keeping the rhythm, and the tal hand is actually doing the embellishments. So you might hear something like, or you might hear. So those are more advanced pieces. Or as my theory goes, because this is a tintal, for those who know tintal theory, you can start to put certain kaitas in there. So like that will all come from tintal theory. It all fits. But now when you come to the rela, I'm saying rela, it's a barti, but if you understand why I'm saying a rela, you'll see that the structures, but it's, and you're going to hear a lot of embellishments there as well. So if you're listening to those more complex pieces, don't be discouraged. The point I'm making to you is that it's a very simple basis, and if you can start to get the beginning structure, sit and listen, and just practice that, you're going to start to see how you can start to identify the pieces. And once you can identify those pieces, it's going to help you pick out little things here and there, practice those, and before you know it, it's like the muscle memory, the neural pathways in your brain are going to start developing in a way that you're not even noticing how easily it's coming to you. And from there, you can start to work on other things. Again, there are a lot of holes in this video as far as the way it was trying to describe things, but please get back with your comments, and I will try my best to kind of rehash the videos depending on where the needs are. And if you like this video, please consider like, subscribe, all that. I'm going to take some time to figure out how to really best break down the hands coming up before I get to trying to drop all these videos all at once. So again, please let me know, and that's the best I can say for now. Take care and have a great day.